Alright, good morning everyone. Happy Friday. Today we're going to start off, actually before we say that, just a reminder we have a quiz at the end of class, so Miss Seals, let's make sure we pause the video, or if we don't finish it, let's make sure we stop 15 minutes, or let's say 17 minutes before the bell. Oh, that's ugly handwriting. Do that again. So 17 minutes before the bell, you're going to pass out the quiz to everyone. And so that means pretty much everyone has 15 minutes to complete that. Before we do that, though, just want to go over a couple problems from the problem set on lesson 11. So everyone, make sure you guys turn to that page. Give you guys a bit of time to do that. Alright, so for number 3, it says, each time Samantha rides a commuter train, she spends $4 for a fare. Write an integer that represents a change in Samantha's money from riding the commuter train to and from work for 13 days. So $4 for a fare. So right here, remember with our multiplication problems yesterday, the first number represents what we're doing and how many times we're doing it, or how many groups there are. So right here, we're doing this, some of you guys might put 13, but we're actually doing it 26 times. So you can think of it as she's spending $4 26 times, so you can put negative 26 times positive 4. Or if you had wrote 26 times negative 4, that pretty much is the same thing. It works also. It means you're taking out, you're having negative $4 because you're spending it 26 times. So you multiply that in both ways, we should get 104, or negative 104. Because remember, a negative times a positive, or a positive times a negative is a negative. So, and yeah, if you keep spending money over and over, your answer is going to be a negative. That means you're taking away $104 in total. Keyword here also says, what's the change in Samantha's money? The change in account is going down by 104. So that's why it has to be negative. Alright, number 4 says, write a real world problem that can be modeled by 4 times negative 7. The problem could kind of be like, it could be that you're giving your friend $7 for 4 times, right? So that means in total you gave him 28. So that means we get negative 28 here. So that means the amount of money that you have decreased by 28. Alright, let's move on. So right now we're going to have you guys get the worksheet. It says, how can I divide integers? So we could pause the video real quick while Ms. Seals passes that out. Alright, so yesterday we talked about multiplying positive and negative integers. Yeah, remember, integers are just positive or negative whole numbers. And today we're going to talk about how to divide integers. Look at number 1. It says, Shayna was helping her younger brother with some division problems. He's really good at multiplication but struggles to divide. How can she turn these division problems into multiplication problems so that her brother can solve them? So here, remember, we know that multiplication is just and division are opposites. So right here, if I'm trying to do 32 divided by 4 to figure out what, we're basically doing 4 times, I wrote it down, 4 times something equals 32. So you have to count by 4s over and over until you get to 32, which would be 8. Right? And so 32 divided by 4 is also 8. So that's what that means. And the same thing here, 56 divided by 7. To try to figure that out, you're really doing 7. You're kind of doing your head 7 times what equals 56. And hopefully you guys should all see that. That's 8. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. So yeah, pretty straightforward. That's kind of basic multiplication, division that you guys learned in elementary. But now we're going to tie that into what happens when we have negatives. Alright, so number 2, Shayna realized she could use this strategy to help her figure out problems with negative numbers. Rewrite the following division problems as multiplication problems and then solve them. So right here, I'm trying to do 8 divided by negative 4 equals what? We're basically doing negative 4 times what equals 8. We know it cannot be negative 2 because what we talked about yesterday is that actually, it can be negative 2. My bad. Let's ignore that. Let's say we know it cannot be 2 because negative 4 times 2 would be negative 8. Because remember, you said that negative times a positive is a negative. So what we know here is that negative 4 divided by or multiplied by negative 2 will get us positive 8. So because a negative times a negative, it's positive. So our answer here is that 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So what I'm going to have you guys do, I'm going to give you guys, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes would be good. Let me see, let's kind of see how you guys are doing on that. And then you guys can share your answers. So I'll pause the video. Alright, so for B, if I'm doing negative 49 divided by negative 7, we're basically doing negative 7 times what equals negative 49. And we know that negative times what will equal a negative. So we know it's going to be 7, but it's going to be positive or negative 7. Remember, we know negative times a positive is indeed a negative, so therefore here, negative 49 divided by negative 7 is positive 7. Alright, C. So I will just write it out. Basically here we're doing negative 8 times what equals negative 24. You know it's going to be 3, but is it positive 3 or negative 3? It's going to have to be a positive 3 because we know negative times a positive, just like before, is a negative. So the answer is 3. Lastly, if I'm doing negative 50 divided by 10, we're doing 10 times what equals negative 50. You know 10 times 5 is 50, but the answer is negative 50. So 10 times 5 is 50, but we want negative 50. So we know that 10 times negative 5 is negative 50. So positive times negative is a negative. So here is the answer. So here, let's just kind of look at the pattern. Look at all these answers real quick and see if we notice anything. The first one, we got a positive divided by negative is a negative. Second one, negative divided by negative is positive. Third one, negative divided by negative is a positive. And last one, negative divided by positive is a negative. Does it look familiar? Isn't it basically the same rules as we're multiplying? Remember we said a positive and a negative should equal a negative. And that's what we got here. A negative times a negative is a positive. Same thing here. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Negative divided by negative, once again, is a positive. And lastly, negative divided by positive is a negative. So yeah, so to kind of sum up, and what you guys can answer for the bottom part, the rules for dividing negatives is basically the same thing as the rules for multiplying positives and negatives. So that kind of makes it easy to remember. So you guys can answer question 3 right now. How the multiplying with negative numbers related to dividing with negative numbers. Pretty much sum up in your own answer, sum up your own words. It's basically the same rules, right? So write that real quick. And then once you wrote that down, I'll have you guys quickly go to the problem set for lesson 12. So we can pause the video until everyone gets there. Alright, so hopefully everyone's there. Real quick, everyone, just do all of number one real quick. Try to get through these. Main thing is getting those signs correct, right? Once you have it, and once the person, your neighbor, the person next to you has it, make sure you guys check each other's answers. And then you guys can all agree on the correct ones. So about 3-4 minutes for that, maybe 5. You can pause the video. Alright, so hopefully everyone's got that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to, I believe it's lesson 15. Alright, lesson 15. This one's not too bad. Pretty similar to what we just did. So learn target says I can multiply and divide rational numbers. So remember, the difference between a rational number and an integer is that rational numbers can include decimals and fractions. A rational number is pretty much any number that can be written as a fraction. So like -5, that's a rational number because you could write it as a fraction, right? Isn't -5 the same thing as -5/1? But the main thing you guys need to know is rational numbers include fractions and decimals. Alright, so let's see. Right here for A, it says in the space below, create a word problem that involves integer multiplication. Write an equation to model the situation. So we could use the example we used earlier. Let's say you borrowed, or you're giving your friend $7 4 times. So you could do 4. Since you're giving him $7, that means you're losing $7 each time, right? So then we know that 4 times -7. We don't have to write the dot there. The parentheses is good enough to show that's multiplication. This is -28. So that means the money you have decreases by 28. Question B says, now change the word problem by replacing the integers with non-integer rational numbers, like fractions or decimals. So let's say it's just the same thing, except you give your friend $7.50. And you're giving it to him, so you could put negative, so you're losing it, right? And then you're giving it to him 4 times. So right here, what's 4 times -7.5? Alright, let's not think of it like that. Let's think about if you losing $7.50 4 times in a row. That means in total you will lose $30. So what they're pretty much saying here is that, or what they're trying to show you guys is, when we work with whole numbers or integers, a positive times a negative is a negative. And if you use decimals in it, a positive times a negative, it's still going to be a negative. So there's nothing that changes. What you guys are going to be seeing in this lesson is some problems that include decimals and fractions, but it's really the same concept with multiplication and multiplying integers. It's still those same rules. Positive times positive. Negative times negative is positive. If you have a positive and a negative, you know the answer is negative. You guys got to remember that. Alright, we'll go over one problem together, and then I'm going to have you guys do some on your own, or actually you guys can even do it with people around you guys or in your groups. Actually, yeah, let's have you guys work in groups after we go over this one. It's been a while since you guys have done that, I think. All right, first one. In 1 year, Melinda's parents spend $2,640.90 on cable and internet services. If they spend the same amount each month, what is the resulting change in Melinda's income? So, let's see. We want to figure out how much it changes each month, right? So what we could do here is, if they spend this much for the whole year, we got to make sure it's a negative, because during the whole year, the change in their income goes down because they're using that money for the cable. And to figure out how much is for each month, we simply just divide by 12. And then we know that our answer right here, a negative divided by a positive, we know it's going to be negative something. I don't have a calculator near me. Hopefully one of you guys do. Make sure when you are... Actually, real quick, I can get a calculator. Alright, I got a calculator. So we should get negative $220.075. But, so, something's wrong with this. Some of you guys should know. When we're dealing with money, we only care about what's after the hundreds place. When you talk about money, you don't really look at what's after that. But here, if you look at the number after though, remember, we talk about rounding. If the number is 5 or greater, you round up. If it's 4 or lower, you stay the same. So in total, each month, their income changes approximately $220.08. So main thing here, you guys know how to divide, you guys know how to multiply, but main thing is being able to know when the answer is positive or negative. We talked about in the other lesson when they're asking for change. If you're losing money or money goes down, you know the answer has to be negative. Alright, so what you guys are going to do right now is you guys are going to be working in groups. At the bottom of the page, there's this table, and you're going to use that information to help you answer the questions A, B, C, D, E, F. I think it's 5 questions. And depending on time, we can stop early. Remember, make sure about 17 minutes before the bell rings, have quizzes passed out. And you guys can pause the video here. In the later part, we'll go over the answers. But then right now, you guys are just working on it together. So get to work. Alright, so hopefully by now you guys have completed all these problems. I'm just going to quickly go over it so you guys can kind of check your work and make sure you guys understand it. First one for A, it'd have to be negative $4.25 times 2. Because each of the plants she's buying is $4.25, and she's spending each one, so her the change in her checking account is gonna decrease by that much, but it's gonna decrease by that much times 2 because she's buying 2 of them. And then we get our answer as negative $8.50. So your numerical answer is just gonna be negative $8.50. And make sure you write explanation. All you gotta do is write pretty much a sentence. Explain what the answer means. You would say the change in her bank account will decrease by $8.50, or you can say deduct, keyword decrease, or deduct by $8.50. Make sure you guys have a complete sentence though. I'm just kind of giving you guys the key parts. You can say decreased or deduct by $8.50. Because remember, when you say decrease or deduct by $8.50, that basically means negative $8.50. So that's the same thing. Alright, let's move on to B. Alright, so Mr. Clark's order is is $2.25. That's for one of the plants that he buys. And then he buys 5 of them. So in total, Mr. Clark's order costs $11.25. But here, it says Mr. Clark gives him a $20 bill and doesn't have change. So we can write out Mr. Clark has 20. And then take away $11.25. So what we have left is at $8.75. This is how much Jeremy now owes Mr. Clark, right? Because that's the change left over. So the question is, how does this affect the total amount of money Jeremy collects? What rational number represents the change that must be made to the money Jeremy collects? So the change that to his money is actually going to go down by $8.75 because he has to give that back $8.75. So here I know our answer is positive $8.75, but when asking what's the change that must be made to his account, so the adjustment needs to be negative $8.75. All right, next one. All right, so 4C, Susie's borrowing from her mother. So in total, Susie getting $2.50 worth of flowers or plants, and what her mom says that she's going to deduct an equal amount from her allowance each week for the next 5 weeks. So the question is, what's the weekly change in her account? So if in total Susie owes her mom $2.50, it would be negative. That's because she owes it. But then what her mom's going to do is deduct an equal amount from her weekly allowance for the next 5 weeks. So we could divide that by 5 to figure out how much her mom's going to take away from her allowance each week. And so there we should get negative 0.50, which is 50 cents. So what we can say that Susie will lose 50 cents, all right, each week. Again, here, lose 50 cents, that's basically the same thing as negative 50. All right, moving on. Question D. Actually, we skip D. I think it's pretty similar to the other ones. We can look at question E real quick. And E and F looks pretty similar. Let's actually, F is a little more difficult. It's pretty much the same thing, but we'll do F, and if you get F, E should be fine. Jeremy spends 1 week collecting orders. If 22 people collect or purchase plants totaling $270, what's the average amount of Jeremy's sale? So here we gotta do 270 divided by 22 to get our average. Remember, average is the total divided by the number of people in this case. So on average, we would get, ideally, I would actually want you guys to do long division on this, because on the mid-module test, you guys will have to prove or show to me that you guys can do long division. If not, make sure you guys try to figure that at home, or I can help you guys when I come back. You guys got to get that long division down. But just for the sake of time, we get 12.272 here. So the average, when we're talking about money, we stop at the hundreds place. So the average order is $12.27. Hopefully you guys pretty much understand that. I think that should be it for this video.